Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to math. Before we get started today's concept, you're gonna need the unit circle that you did on the first 6 weeks. Okay. Remember at the end I told you to do a replica of that unit circle from the internet. Okay. Today we're gonna go a little more in detail about it. Some cheat sheets today about how to memorize it a little quicker. Okay. Or how to use it. In other words, as well. First thing to know is obviously something we already know. It's called a unit circle. Notice that mine's still blank. Okay. Notice that each one of the sectors, okay, each one of the quadrants, because think of it as a graph. Okay, you have your x-axis, your y-axis. Okay, still your graph. Each one of the sectors or quadrants, you have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay, so quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and then quadrant 4. Okay, so we have all four of our quadrants. Things to know are each one of our quadrants has 3 lines that cuts in them. Okay, notice we have 1, 2, 3 on one sector, 1, 2, 3 on the second one, 1, 2, 3 on the third one, and then 1, 2, 3 on the fourth one. Okay, now when it comes to the first thing in here, okay, well, first there's 5 things that go on the unit circle. Okay, the 5 things are we have a degree, okay, a radiant, okay, a radiant means something with pi including, sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, now the rule is for when dealing with degrees, okay, we start off at 0 degrees. Then the next rule is from your first, okay, from the origin, from your horizontal line to your first line, okay, you're gonna add 30 to 0, okay? So 0 plus 30, it's 30, right? Then we have 30. Here's the rule. The next rule is you cut it in half. 30 plus 15, okay? Which equals 45. And then finally, another 15 from 45. That means that 45 plus 15 is 60. Okay? And then obviously, a right angle, when you have your line, makes 90 degrees. Okay? Which means it goes from 15 to 30. Okay? So it goes back to the original. Think of it as this. Halfway out of those 3 lines, the one in the middle, think of it as a mirror. It reflects the same thing you're looking at the other side. If you had 1530, the same thing on the other side, 1530. Okay? If you're going from the origins, you have 30 15ths. Okay? That is the rule. That rule goes on throughout the whole circle. Again, you go from 90 to our next one, you have 30, again 15, 15, and then 30. Okay? It repeats the cycle over and over. Again, we have 30, 15, 15, and then 30. Okay? And then one last time, we have 30, 15, 15, 30 degrees. Okay? That's the rule for degrees. Okay? The degree is 30, 15, 15, 30. 30, 15, 15, 30. And so on and so on. Okay? That's how you find the degrees. Okay? Now, when it comes to radians, there is a rule. Okay? Obviously, your first one is 0 for your first radiant. You have a radiant of 0. Okay. Then we have a radiant of pi over 6. Okay. Then we have a pi over 4, pi over 3, and then pi over 2. Okay. Think of it as this way. 2, 3, 4, skip 5, and then 6. Okay. The bottom numbers never change. So if you were to look at a mirror, think of 90 as your mirror. We would have pi, 3, pi, 4, pi, 6, and then here we have a pi, which is just pi. Okay. Keep in mind, the only difference is here, the rule is on your first quadrant, there is no number on top. Okay, it's just pi over 2, pi over 3, pi over 4, pi over 6, and then obviously 0 when it's 0. When it comes to the second quadrant, guys, the rule is, okay, 1 less than the bottom. Okay, so if the bottom is 3, the top is 2 pi over 3. If it's 4, it's 3 pi over 4. If it's 6, it's 5 pi over 6. Okay, so the rule on the second one is 1 less for pi, 1 less than the bottom. Okay, 1 less than the bottom for the radians. Okay, now for the next one, the rule is down here. It's kind of similar. The only difference is 1 more than the bottom. Okay, so 1 more than the bottom, meaning if we have, remember, think of the mirror. We have 6 right on the bottom, pi. We still need the 1 in here, right? On top, next to pi. 1 more than the bottom. If the bottom is 6, the top one is 7. Okay? Then we go to 4, because remember, the bottom one's never changed. And the other one's 3, and then it's 2. You have a pi on all of them. Now, since we have 1 more, instead of 4 is 5. Instead of 3 is 4. And instead of 2 is 3. Okay, so we have 3 pi over 2, 4 pi over 3, 5 pi over 4, 7 pi over 6. For the final one, okay, it's still kind of the same rule. The only difference is here is twice as much than the bottom minus 1. Okay, so 2 times the bottom minus 1. You might ask yourself, what do you mean? What I mean is, if, again, they don't change on the bottom, okay, we have 3, okay, we have 4, okay, we have 6, those are the bottom ones, okay. Now, the pi, remember, for 3, if it's 2 times 3, so 2 times 3 is 6, right? Minus 1 is 5, okay. 2 times 4 is 8, minus 1 is 7 pi, and then 6 times 2 is 12, minus y is 11 pi. Okay, and obviously if you do the whole term, it's twice as much as pi, which in this case is 2 pi. Okay, once you do the whole circle. Okay. All right, one more thing to know. When it comes to sine and cosine, okay, think of it as this. Each one of them has a cosine and a sine. Okay, which means that you have one as your x-axis and one as your y-axis. you have sine and cosine, okay? You have sine as x, cosine as y. Let me just verify that last place, just make sure we're all on the same page. All right, so yeah, it's actually cosine and sine, it's backwards. Cosine, sine. Now, in order to find tangent, you have to multiply, okay? You will have to multiply sine over cosine. I mean multiply because sometimes you do have to deal with that radical, okay? Sometimes you just divide normally, but in order to get tangent, you have to get sine divided by cosine, okay? And then cosine is your x-axis, sine is your y-axis. Notice that, again, for that cosine and sine, they don't really change, okay? All you need to memorize are three different pieces, which is 1/2, radical of 2 over 2, and radical of 3 over 2, okay? Obviously, I'm not gonna put them in here because it's gonna take a little more while, okay? But it's the same rule, same numbers on this side than on this side, okay? The only difference is sometimes those are positive here, sometimes one's negative here, either sine or cosine or tangent, and then another one, and so on, okay? All right, guys, so that's it for today, okay? I just wanted to a little more, go over a little more in detail what the unit circle does, okay? It helps out solving for triangles, especially for degrees, okay? As you guys can see, this here forms a triangle. All right, guys, so here's your assignment for today, okay? Hopefully you guys are listening. For your assignment, send me what are the 5 things that are on the unit circle. Okay, that's all you have to send me. The 5 things. All right, guys. So make sure you send me your answers as soon as you're done watching the video, and I'll be waiting for your email.